Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF. It is May the 23rd. We are here to look at new releases that have been published this week, and we're going to be looking at books that are being published next week. Because quick announcements, I don't have any show on Monday. I'm taking the day off. It is Memorial Day. It is a 3-day weekend. I haven't had a day off holiday since January 1st, so I am just going to sleep in a little bit. So we're going to do a little looking ahead, finishing up this week and looking at next week. Cajun says, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoying your 4-day weekend, day 1. Good morning, Elena. How are you doing? Good morning, Mary. Happy Friday, too. The beginning of a long weekend. Hope everyone enjoys it. Absolutely. And be safe. Cajun says morning to both Elena and Mary. Elena's just making coffee. Ooh, nums. And good morning, Mary. All right. Let's jump in. Quick announcements. Otherwise, let's see. Mary says, hi, Elena. Sounds good. Love a good hot cup of joe early in the morning. Off to work next week. Wow. All next week? Oh, that's going to be fun. And Mary says, lucky girl. Absolutely. Let us jump in. Other quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. Our next sprints are tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. We go for 5 hours. Our usual schedule. The only schedule affected is Monday. So this is still this week. Curtain Call Catastrophe and The Bow Wow Bakery by Belinda Page. 7th in the Doggy Bakery Cozy Mystery Series. When the glamorous Gilded Gable Theater attempts to reopen in Glenwood Falls, Sophie is thrilled to whip up delicious treats from the Bow Wow Bakery for the fundraising events. Excuse me. My allergies have just been going bonkers. The excitement ramps up when Max auditions and lands a starring role in the show. However, the festivities turn dark when an actress falls victim to foul play. Sophie and Max dive in a world filled with auditions, costume parties, and culinary delights. As she uncovers jealousy and hidden motives among the cast and crew, she must solve the mystery before the killer strikes again. Contemplation of a Crime by Susan Juby, 3rd in the Helen Thorpe series. Buddhist butler and reluctant investigator Helen Thorpe bands together with her feisty Butler School graduates to rescue her very wealthy employer and his son in this series. Butler Helen Thorpe is not one to judge, but the participants in Close Encounters for Global Healing are astonishingly unpleasant. The 5-day program brings together people from across the political spectrum with the goal of helping them bridge their ideological and personal differences. Helen and her employer, Mr. Levin, have come to Side Island to assist David, his youngest son, who is facilitating the course. The motley assortment of participants includes a burned-out environmental activist, an internet troll, a clueless consumerist, an alleged white nationalist, and a man who was arrested at the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. No one seems interested in a civil conversation, much less global healing, and each person has shown up with their own secret agenda. You know you want to, but you don't want to read it. Now, this is a series I buy each and every time. It does say 31st in this series. However, they do count the novellas as well. But if you're looking for a historical mystery, this is a good one to be doing. Hang on, I'm behind. Cajun was saying, enjoy your time off to Elena. And Elena says, just Monday. Yeah. Well, that'll be a nice weekend. And Kim says, good morning. And Cajun says, morning to Kim. Mary says, morning to Kim. Glad you could join us. Indeed. Elena, good morning to Kim. Mary, another gorgeous day here in Virginia. Hope it is nice where you all are. Yes, I think we're supposed to hit 70s. Mostly 70s. 60s and 70s. Mary Hope, because she is never late. I'm on. Kim, school district here doesn't get Memorial Day off. They are off Monday because they are starting summer work schedule next week. Off Monday and 10 hours. That's right, the 410s. Mary, back again, and thanks, Cajun. Don't know why I didn't get on automatically. I don't know. Technology. Cajun, I had a couple days last week. My lives were lagging, but it corrected itself finally. Oh, the internet. Kim says 87 there. Woo! Crazy. This is The Gresham Scandal by Tracy Grant. Again, 31st, but they do count the novellas. It's set during the Regency, London. Harriet Roth, a bookish spinster, lives a quiet, unassuming life. Tristan Gresham, a noted composer and even more noted roue, flaunts his disreputable reputation. When the two of them disappear, the scandalous implications are obvious to London's beau monde. But former spies Melanie and Malcolm Brannock, who are friends of both Harriet and Gresham, are sure something more complicated than elopement is afoot, especially because Harriet and Gresham left behind the dead body of an infamous international assassin in Gresham's fashionable bachelor rooms. How the missing couple were connected to the assassin is as puzzling as who killed him and what brought him to London in the first place. Every Hour Until Then, Timeless, book number 5 by Gabrielle Meyer. Gifted with the ability to... Whoa! Gifted with the ability to time cross between Victorian-era London and World War II Washington, D.C., Catherine faces two lives fraught with danger. In 1938, amid the looming shadow of war, Catherine is invited to the London Museum as a guest curator to create a groundbreaking exhibit on Jack the Ripper and his reign of terror. As she delves into her grim research, she uncovers a chilling truth. Her own sister is destined to become the Ripper's final victim decades earlier. In 1988, in a race against fate, Catherine is assisted by her handsome childhood friend in hunting down history's most elusive killer. As they unravel the threads of mystery woven through time, Catherine must decide if she'll unmask the murderer history has chosen to hide, forfeiting a life with the man she loves to save her sister. All I Haunt for Christmas by Ellen Riggs, 6th in the Mystic Mutt Mysteries. It's Christmas time in Wildwood Springs, and psychic amateur sleuth Janelle Brighton is ready for cozy nights, good friends, and maybe even a quiet moment under the mistletoe with her boyfriend, Chief Drew Gillick. But when the town-wide Secret Santa exchange delivers a cursed antique and a ghost dog comes howling for help, Janelle and her snarky dachshund sidekick, Mr. Bixby, are swept into a chilling paranormal cozy mystery tied to a murder. And the last one for this week, Poison in the Pido by Juliet N. Daniels, 2nd in the Willow Mysteries. With one murder behind her, bookstore owner Sophie Sullivan thought she was done with mysteries, but when a famous food critic drops dead at her grand reopening, she finds herself caught in the middle of another deadly scandal. Sophie has everything planned. She and her friends Ruthie Mae and Cecil are celebrating the grand reopening of her businesses with a lively town-wide event. The highlight, renowned food critic Diane Cantor, has agreed to attend and review Cecil's Bakery, a spotlight that could bring them all great success. But before she can leave her rave review, Diane is found poisoned with one of Cecil's pastries still in her hand. So these are the ones that are published this week. As I said, there weren't a whole lot. But I will post the link. I'll leave those up through the weekend. Kim says, usually Monday through Thursday and off Friday, except for next week. Right, because of the holiday. Gotcha. Kim, mine wasn't refreshing either this week. Might be solar flares. Or internet issues being wonky. So, these are books that are coming out starting next week. Tanya Kappas has a new one. A Perk of Trouble by Tanya Kappas, 17th in the Killer Coffee Mysteries. When a nationally known author arrives in town to headline a prestigious writer's retreat, Roxanne Bloom is more focused on crafting perfect lattes than getting caught in his plot twists. But when the author turns up dead in a scene straight from one of his books, Roxy's peaceful coffee-slinging days are once again interrupted. Bullets and Beignets by Kat Bellamore. Third in A Seaside French Patisserie Mysteries. Two retirees, a gun, and a movie star. Jo Darby never believes the local gossip, especially when that gossip claims that her favorite movie star, Eli Hunt, will be filming in their small town. That kind of thing is always too good to be true, and yet the film crew rolls into town and Jo can't contain her excitement, even joining the movie as a background extra, while her older sister Dottie stays home. But when a film crew member is murdered on Jo's first day on set, her excitement turns to dread. Now, not only is all filming canceled for the immediate future, but the sheriff's prime suspect is Jo's beloved actor, Eli Hunt. I'm going to say something snarky. Cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. Was Alec Baldwin on set? Okay, moving on. The Diva Poaches a Bad Egg by Krista Davis, 18th in the Domestic Diva Mysteries. Stylish brunches are all the rage this autumn in Old Town Alexandria, and everyone's posting their parties on social media. But while domestic diva Sophie Winston juggles her event-filled calendar, she's approached by local designer Mitzi Lawson, who's afraid someone is following her. The very next day, Mitzi loses her best friend and business partner, Denise. The two were renovating a generation's-old house where Denise died unexpectedly, and Mitzi fears that it wasn't a medical condition to blame, but murder. Katie says, so excited for the new Domestic Diva, one of my favorite series. Oh, I love it when that happens. Night of the Living Bread by Mary Lee Ashford, 4th in the Sugar and Spice Mysteries. Sugar Calloway and Dixie Spicer are up to their aprons in community cookbook projects, but Sugar can't resist when the Jameson County Historical Society asks for their assistance with a cookbook featuring bread recipes, but they've barely begun when suddenly troubles are on the rise. Marla, the board's president, is stabbed with a bread knife. Her best friend, Mame, is a suspect, and some dough of the money kind is missing. As Sugar and Dixie try to save the cookbook project and help Mame, things take a twist with a second body. But what's the connection, and who in St. Ignatius has been keeping secrets? And most importantly, will Sugar and Dixie be able to figure out who done it before the killer catches up with them? And they are toast. End of that row. Promises in Politics, Another Murder. 11th in the Sheridan Henley Mysteries by Krista Nardi. There's one of those covers that are kind of, could be a good story inside. When Senator Marcus Thornton is killed at an engagement party in his hometown, amateur sleuth Sheridan Henley is drawn into the investigation alongside her detective husband. With a reputation for flip-flopping on political issues, Thornton's death sparks suspicion. Broken promises and hidden agendas lead to many undercurrents. As Sheridan delves deeper into the case, she uncovers a network of social connections and a history of infidelity that may have played a role in Thornton's murder. But with so many suspects and conflicting motives, can she piece together the truth? Is the killer's motive political or personal, or both? Deadly Drafts by Courtney Bradley. Welcome to Literary Stitches, where books, crafts, and murder go hand in hand. Adelaide Addie Doyle Thought she'd left small-town life behind her for good, but when heartbreak and family duty pull her back to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, she finds herself stitching together a new chapter, one filled with second chances, small-town charm, and unfortunately, murder. When Addie's former best friend and worst enemy turns up dead just before her wedding, Addie and her sister Winnie become the prime suspects. With a malt-blank pen as the murder weapon, and the town's rumor mills working overtime, Addie has no choice but to clear their names before they land in an orange jumpsuit. Armed with her writer's intuition, a knack for uncovering secrets, and a little help from her quirky inner circle, Addie dives into the mystery, because in Broken Arrow, stories don't just stay on the page. A Cyclist Guide to Villains and Vines, second in the Cyclist Guide Mysteries by Anne Claire. Sadie Green and her We Cycle crew vow to wow her most discerning private group yet with a trip they will never forget. It won't be easy. The Silver Spinners, 6 globe-trotting seniors, arrive with thrilling tales of two-wheeling adventures. Sadie worries she'll fail to impress such worldly travelers, even with the backdrop of Alsace, a dreamy region of rolling vineyards, delicious cuisine, and fairy tale architecture. Sadie is dead wrong. Her group is stunned, but not for the right reasons. Trouble starts when a guest crashes into a corpse on a solo midnight ride, or so she says. But when body isn't found, Sadie hopes it was all a bad dream. She aims to reset the mood with a fun sunny day pedaling through the vineyards. However, an impromptu detour ends in a crash, and a shattered wine barrel isn't the only victim. A dead man spills out. Sadie thinks they can ride away unscathed. After all, who would they know so far from home? Murder once again throws a wrench into Sadie's gears. The corpse has shocking links to her tour. The Busybody Book Club by Freya Sampson. They can't even agree on what to read, so how are they going to solve a murder? Having recently moved from London to a small Cornish seaside village, Nora Davies started a book club at the local community center, but so far it's a disaster. The 5 members disagree on everything, and to make matters worse, a significant sum of money is stolen during one of the meetings, putting the much-loved community center at risk. Suspicion for the theft falls on book club member Michael, especially when he disappears and a dead body turns up at his house. But the book club has their own theories. Agatha Christie superfan Phyllis is determined to prove Michael's been framed, while romance reader Arthur believes there's a mystery woman involved, and teenage sci-fi fan Ash thinks dark forces are at play. End of that row. The Potting Shed Murder by Paula Sutton, first in the Hill House Vintage Murder Mysteries. Welcome to the beautiful bucolic village of Pudding Corner, where there's death among the dahlias. Daphne Brewster has gladly swapped South London for Pudding Corner, a Norfolk hamlet full of quintessentially English charm, with a mix of stone cottages, Georgian architecture, and a Victorian Gothic houses, all nestled together and surrounded by the fields of gold and green. Pudding Corner and its neighboring village of Pepperbridge seem as far from the bustle of city living as one can get. For Daphne, joy at moving into beautiful Cranberry farmhouse with her husband James and their 3 young children is tempered by some concerns about being the only black woman for miles around. But within a few short months, Daphne has become known as the parish's vintage lady and has set up her own shop. Business is thriving, and so is her family. As for Pudding Corner, it's rapidly revealing itself to be filled with complicated, intertwined lives on par with anything she left behind. Then the local school's headmaster is found dead in his allotment patch, unleashing a storm of secrets and a scandal. Resort at Castaway Bay by Kathy Daly, 10th in the Resort on Castaway Bay series. When Enzo the Joker Masterson dies, he leaves behind more than memories. He bequeaths a set of cryptic clues to his 4 poker buddies at Sunny Meadows Senior Living Home. Clues that may lead to a treasure worth tens of millions, stolen decades ago and never recovered. Sydney Whitmore, a forensic psychologist turned FBI consultant, is called in by her ex-boss for one last favor. Tasked with quietly joining the poker crew's desert road trip under the guise of their driver, Sydney must follow the trail, gather intel, and report back to her boss, who's been chasing the Joker's loot his entire career. But as the miles roll by and secrets unravel, Sydney discovers the journey holds more than just buried gold. Amanda Flower has a new one. Got some big names. Not They Who Soar, a Catherine Wright mystery, who's second in that series. Summer 1904. Catherine and her best friend from Oberlin College, Margaret Goodwin Meacham, are thrilled to attend the St. Louis Exposition in St. Louis, Missouri, for the centennial celebration of the Louisiana Purchase. Not only is it a grand international event, it's also the first time the young women have seen each other in quite a while, and they are giddy with excitement, despite warnings from Catherine's old family friend, poet Paul Laurence Dunbar, to be careful of the fair's less seemly side. Undaunted, the girls have a lovely time until the exposition turns from a girls' trip to a misadventure when Catherine stumbles upon a woman in distress. It's obvious she's been attacked. Catherine does her best to save her, but tragically, before help can arrive, the woman dies. Yet just before her last breath, she utters the word aeronautics competition. Catherine's brothers Wilbur and Orville were asked to enter the competition with their successful 1903 flyer, but declined. Catherine wonders how this young woman could be connected to such a prestigious event. Dun dun dun. Alarm's going to go off here in a second. In Cold Brewed by Kristen Helling, second in the Roastwood Hollow Cozy Mysteries. Beer breweries from all over the region come to take part in Roastwood Hollow's annual brew festival. Coffee roaster Clementine Matthews uses this opportunity to debut her new cold brew recipe. With the chaos of the festival and the already short-staffed local police focused elsewhere, a body is found on a trail in the park nearby. The park is closed off, so it only makes sense that the deceased came from the festival and also his murderer. Little did Clementine know, instead of cold brew, she'd be brewing up a case of cold-blooded murder. End of that row. So everybody remember, we did the first 3 rows. We have more, but that will be next week. All right. Kate just said, I really like the Freya Sampson books I've read. Hope my library gets the new one. Oh, cool. Mary, thanks so much. Hope you all have a great day and a wonderful long weekend. Enjoy every moment. The internet is being very persnickety today for me. I'm so sorry, but you have a good weekend too. Hope you had a good hunting yesterday at the library. Kate just said, hope everyone has a good day. See you tomorrow for sprints. Ah, lovely. Love that. Yes, indeed. So everybody, please have a good weekend. Be safe. Read good books. If you're not enjoying the book, it's okay to set it aside. You can always come back to it. Elena, thank you so much. Indeed, sweetie, you have a good weekend. All right. Hope to see you tomorrow. If I don't see you, I will see you next week. We'll look at more books being published next week. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a Bookie monster. Have a good day and God bless.